We're at Phanteks' suite at CES, and we're taking a look at their brand new NV7 case. I mean, just look at it. It's beautiful. I would even say sexy. One of the biggest features is that this is supposed to be a showcase PC, something that you're gonna put on your desk, show all of your friends who really care about computer hardware how much money you've spent. I mean, just look at it. You have fans on the back, you have fans on the bottom, you have fans on top, you have fans everywhere. The whole idea is that this is a zero compromises case. It's gonna be both beautiful and high performance, and it's gonna allow you to get the most out of your hardware. Let's just talk about the outside of it. As you can see, you have a tempered glass front panel that goes right around to the side. Seamless, there's no reinforcement here, so it's just glass. To do this, they've had to reinforce a lot of the edges, so there's gonna be some thick edges. We'll show you the inside of the case in just a moment. But some other cool features is that down here, you can see they've angled this whole bottom panel up, even including the I/O. This is to get better airflow as well as to show off your fans at the bottom. So again, a showcase PC. It's all about bragging and showing off. Speaking of I/O, you have a combo microphone headphone jack, a USB Type-C 10 gigabit per second port, and two USB Type-A 5 gigabit per second ports. Fun fact, you can actually take this and mount it on the back with the rest of your cables, so if you want to have this whole case turned and looking nice, you don't have to see any gross cables out the front. It's all about image, okay? One cool thing is that usually the back of the PC case is where all the manufacturers stop caring, because they go, you're gonna shove it against the wall, no one's ever gonna see it. Phanteks did not agree with that. So what they've done is that they've put this whole door on the back that's gonna cover all of your cables, and this is really cool. They have cable combs that go along the entire backside and the bottom, so you can route your cables totally smoothly throughout and just have them subtly stick out. You don't actually even have to have them come out the back. You can actually have them come out the bottom through these rubber grommets just inside the back panel. Now, some of you might be thinking, look at this garbage airflow. They just want it to look nice, so they put all of their fans as exhausts. Not so fast. Phanteks has reverse fans, so you can make sure that your RGB looks clean even if it's exhausting or intaking. And in the spirit of keeping things clean, their new D30 fans come with these bridge connectors that allow you to connect up to 4 fans daisy chained and just run them through one single connector. They also have these little clips that you can put on and cover the screw holes up so that you have a completely uninterrupted looking fan. It's working on me. It looks really good. And in the case, they even have this diffuse RGB strips that run along the, I guess the motherboard frame, as well as, you might notice this, there's no PSU that you can see. That's because this chamber up here is actually a sideways mounted PSU. And the case comes with an integrated RGB controller that's dual channel. So you don't have to plug everything into this one controller and then only have all the same color. You can actually change each channel individually. So I can change the speed and the color of the effects for each channel without software, just using the hardware in the computer, which means it's gonna work with a lot more fans than, Corsair's IQ software. Also, you don't have to install Corsair's IQ software, which is a win for everyone. But before we take a look inside, let's take a look at our sponsor, dbrand.
Okay, so our sponsor dropped out for CES 2023, but dbrand footed the bill. They're making me come out here on the streets and offer people tech tips for free. And I hate it. Hey, gas prices, eh? You want a tech tip? Sure. Do you know when you use Google?
Yeah. And
you want to search for a whole phrase? If you put the whole phrase in quotation marks, it'll search for all of those words instead of just one.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
You didn't know that? And if you put a minus in front of a word, it'll take it out of the search results.
I didn't know that either.
You didn't know that either?
I didn't know.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, one more thing.
Okay.
Can you go to shortlinus.com?
Short Linus?
Short Linus, like Linus from the Peanuts.
Oh, sure, yeah, I can do that.
Oh, okay, great. Not right now, whenever you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
To take the whole case apart, you're gonna have to open this back door, and then everything from there on is gonna be toolless. You got thumb screws for the glass side panel, just right here. Be very careful with this big piece of glass. If you want to take off the top panel, there's just a couple more thumb screws. There's actually one screw here on the back panel, but that's just for shipping. Once you've gotten your case, you don't have to worry about it, and this just, and it just slides off like that. For the front panel, if you do want to remove it, you will need to take the screws out here and here. So you do need at least a screwdriver, but I assume that if you're getting in dirty enough to take out the front panel, you probably have a screwdriver handy. And if you don't, you can buy one at lttstore.com. Oh, there's a little rubber grommet here. That's a cute little guy. So for mounting options, you have up to 360 millimeter rad. So 360 here, 360 here, 360 at the top, a 240 at the back if you want. You can put 4 fans here, but not a 480 millimeter rad. That's just because of the way the case is slanted. You don't quite have enough clearance, but you can just put in another rad if you really need that. These frames can be easily removed with, again, another thumb screw, allowing you to put your fans in, your radiator in outside of the case, and then you can put it back in. Same thing with the bottom frame. The top frame is not removable though. Slide forward. And a nice touch is they have these rubber dampeners on the bottom, so any vibrations from your fans won't go to the case and make a bunch of noise. Also, if you want this to be mounted flat as opposed to on an angle, you can just turn it around and you put it back in the case and it's flat. Currently, this is configured for a standard ATX motherboard, but you can actually support up to an eATX motherboard by just removing the RGB strips. They just slide out like that. Ooh. They're all connected with pogo pins, so you don't have to worry about any extra cable work or anything like that. You take this bracket, you flip it like this, and now you have a thinner bracket, so you can fit a wider motherboard. One thing to note is that this is actually where your GPU mounting bracket will attach to. You can see these screw holes right here, or right here, depending on your configuration. So this actually screws into the back of the case because it's a very, very rigid bracket, and it's actually really subtle. I don't know if, I actually missed it when we were talking about it in the big case, but that Asus 4090 has a bracket holding it up. It's really subtle, really slick. And for your custom water cooling loops, they've even thoughtfully included not just a fill port, but a drain port. That's the one you really want. That's gonna make your life a lot easier. Let's go to the backside. On the backside, you can see the PSU chamber and as well as ample cable management. It comes with tons of tie down points with included cable straps, which is great. All of your cables are just gonna kind of live around here, which is nice because if you have any excess, but also that big ass 24 pin cable that you gotta plug into your motherboard. What a pain. It's always the same length. A lot of the time you have too much of it, especially because your power supply is gonna be right here rather than at the bottom like a lot of other cases. So you'll have a lot of excess cable. Well, Phanteks thought about that. Phanteks implemented this little door with this cable routing where you can route the cable around these posts and then back through, so you only have the exact amount of cable that you need to get to your motherboard, and it looks clean even from the back where no one's gonna look. But you know. You can mount two 2.5-inch SSDs here, one on either side, but storage doesn't end there. In this little door, you can put up to 4 SSDs or 2 3.5-inch hard drives, or a combination of the both with this little bracket. You also have cable routing options at the top here, just above the motherboard, or through these cool, like right-angled rubber grommets here that makes it really easy to pass large cables through. I thought this was gonna be like a cable management hole, but then I realized it was a cable management hole to nowhere because the side panel goes right in. What this is actually for is to give space for relief of your cable, because the way SATA cables kind of stick out, you have to curve them around, you can't just bend them. This gives you the opportunity to have a little bit of relief. All this beauty is gonna cost a pretty penny, right? Well, it's not actually that bad. Phanteks says that this is gonna be hitting the market at $220, or I guess $19.99 is probably what they're gonna do. Which I think is a pretty good price for something that's like a showcase PC, especially with how decked out with features this thing is. It's coming in February 2023, so keep your eyes peeled for one of these, I think, really cool cases. If you like this short circuit, subscribe, or maybe check out the other video we did at CES about the Inwin Mod Free case. It's like a PC that's modular, so you can just keep adding more things onto it as you get more and more invested in, I don't know, computers.